welcome back. Well, it's been a minute, but starting to get some backed up ride videos, and this is the first of those. This is the Sunday, late August this year, so middle of winter, but you wouldn't know it from looking at the day. And it's a whole Auckland chapter ride. We're heading up to Northland. We're going to the Old Parakao Store, and on this day well, the weather for a few days beforehand was looking a little bit dodgy, but on the day it dawned fine and clear, and around about 30 something bikes turned out for this particular ride. We're heading up north, and we're being led out by our road captain Shane Lupo, who was pretty quick to put his hand up to lead a ride back to Northland once the Brynderwins had opened, because we like to have a quick run back just down State Highway 1. Anyway, the ride's really well supported. We're all pretty happy about that, and there's a lot of us heading along the way here. Now, to head up north, there's really only a few ways you can typically go, because we want to do most of the riding above the divide, above the Brynderwins, and that's what's going to happen here. So we're keeping off the motorway and the toll road wherever we can. We're heading up through Dairy Flat on Kahikatea Flat Road. Going to turn across onto State Highway 16 at Kaukapkapa and head on up straight up 16 to Wellsford, and that's where we'll be having our first regroup before turning off onto State Highway 1 and pushing on north up through Hana, Kaiwaka, and heading up to the base of the Brynderwin Hills, where we'll be turning left and heading up, making our way towards Dargaville on State Highway 12, and we'll be heading along State Highway 12 until we get up to Matakohe, and we're going to get off there at the Kauri Museum and take a bit of a break. There's a cafe there, I think it's called the Gum Diggers Cafe. We're going to have a little bit of a stretch the legs, have a coffee or a pie or whatever they've got going there at the cafe before pressing on further northwards, making our way to Dargaville. But in the meantime, just want to take in this State Highway 16. The day was really perfect. We were blessed with not much other traffic on the road, so we pretty much were able to make our own pace along the road, which is in good shape as well. Kind of also a pleasant surprise. Come around the corner here, you can see Gibbs Farm, kind of feature there on in the distance. Opens during the summertime months. Go in there and have a look at some amazing sculptures. Pretty special, as I understand it. A lot of walking involved if you do manage to be lucky enough to get out on that farm. As we're coming up the top of the hill here, it means we're getting a little bit closer to Wellsford. There's a lookout over here. We've got a ridge. You can look left is up north, right is back down south, and usually when you come up over here you can get a good idea of what weather's going to be in store as you're travelling north, and often it's a little bit kind of surprising. You come up here and you can be looking over the other side, the top, you think, oh, hang on, there's cloud, there's mist, there's rain, what's going on? And I did have some doubts looking over there, but turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. I think there was just some heat mist, because it didn't turn into any kind of rain or fog or nothing. It just, as we got closer to it, it all just disappeared, and we had a pretty splendid time. Now, as we're coming around these last few pieces of road heading up in towards Wellsford, once we pass the final turn off down to Port Albert, we know we're getting real close to Wellsford now, and as we get up ahead, the group, despite it being a fairly large group, has managed to stay pretty close together. So when we pull up at Wellsford to regroup, wait for the tail end Charlie to come through and tell us, we're all here, we weren't waiting very long at all, just a minute or so, if that, before we were back on the road again. Now ahead of us there, travelling left and right, is State Highway 1. We're turning left to carry on up north and go through the little town of Wellsford, and then we'll soon be on our way heading up towards Northland. We're still in Auckland right now, but a little bit further up there's a town called Hana, which is pretty much where the divide line is for the Auckland and Northland regions. Now at this point we've come already to the bottom of the Brynderwins, and we're travelling now in a general direction westwards, heading towards the west coast on State Highway 12. and we're passing through this town called Maungaturoto, and it's pretty early on a Sunday morning, and as we round the corner here before we come into the main drag, if you like, we pass these two delightful old ladies who are quite fascinated by the motorbikes coming past, and they're fascinated to the degree that they are clapping as we ride past, which was kind of sweet. They're very lovely, so I think lots of people wave to them, and they're just coming up here. So look, what are they doing? They're clapping. It was just quite neat. Anyway, here we are going through the main drag of Maungaturoto, and from here we're not too far away from the Kauri Museum. We break out of the township and back onto open road, pushing along ever westwards, and we will eventually come to a turn-off, which is marked by one of the riders. Road captain left a marker for us, and we head off at Matakohe, and we're heading up to the Kauri Museum, which is a pretty great spot. I have actually been in there one time. It was it's worth a visit. Kauri forestry and gum digging was a big employer, big part of the Northland history after when European times came, and there's quite a few things of interest to be seen in that museum there. But we're not going to the museum here. We're having a stop for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We're going to be having a bit of a break at the very handily located nearby Gum Diggers Cafe, where the coffee's good and the food was also great. They were pretty happy to see 30 motorbikes with pillions pull up as well, and all of them ready to pay a bit of money for some refreshments. So yeah, it was a win-win. Kauri Museum right there on the right hand side. We travel on past over the hill a little bit and park by the cafe, where we spent a very enjoyable 25 minutes or so having a bit of a yarn, bit of food, telling a few tall stories before we're on the way again. You can see the museum there now on the left hand side as we're forming up and heading back in our way. Now we're going to first turn on to, well, from this road, which is Church Road, we're going to get onto Matakohe Road East. It will eventually morph into Matakohe Road West before joining back to State Highway 12 and carrying us on our way through to Dargaville. Now I don't actually film anything at Dargaville, not that there's not a lot to see there. It's a pretty decent sized town, but the only reason we stopped in Dargaville was to fuel up the bikes, just get a little splash aboard for most of us, and then from there we carried on up the road for the final leg through to the Old Parakao Store. And to get there we come back from Dargaville, kind of backtrack back through, and then get on to State Highway 14, which if you stay on it will lead you through to Whangarei, but we will be getting off relatively early in the piece and turning up a road called Tangowahine Road, which we haven't been a while. I've never been on before. It was really interesting, great ride. Lupo really put some thought into the ride through, and we had some good fun riding along this road. It was, like I said, the weather was amazing. The roads were dry, and it was the perfect kind of conditions in which to see this. Now, we've already had the Dargaville interlude for fuel, and we're travelling along 14 eastbound. I wasn't quite sure which way we were going to go here. I kind of imagined we'd be travelling a little bit further along, and kind of half expected we might turn off at Maungaturoto, which we didn't do. We turned left quite early in the piece up Tangowahine Road, which we just get marked off here, which was a great delight to me. Wouldn't have been a surprise at all if we'd been paying a whole lot of attention at the briefing, because Shane went into some detail describing about this road and the origins of the name and some other roads further up, which we won't go into here, but yeah, suffice to say there's some interesting stories of what Shane was telling us was true. Anyhow, this was new road for us, so well, certainly for me, and many of the riders as well hadn't been on this, so it's always good to see something new. And these roads were we didn't really encounter hardly any other traffic. The roads themselves were really good. There were a couple of occasions though where we came across like ruts in the road, particularly as we were coming up and over some mountains and hills where there were pretty good occasion to bottom the bike out. There was one point where I think I might have shortened the spine by about 2 inches with the thump from that, and I wasn't alone. I mean, I'm just riding a little cruiser, but a few of the other riders on the tours also said the same thing. Yeah, my bike bottomed out there. Geez, that was some big bump. So, you know, it was there were a few moments where the road did give us a little surprise, but for the most part this was a very gentle and very scenic route that we travelled. Quite beautiful, great riding. Now, Tangowahine Valley Road is certainly a road of many moods. There's the open fields like what we're seeing here. There's also a lot of twisty, windy bush-clad areas as well, so it really covered just a whole range of different scenic variations for us. And we could also see at some points that the road had been, you know, gotten some damage through some of the winter storms. There was a piece coming up a little bit further ahead where, more than one, but there was one that I particularly caught on camera, where the road had given way, part of the roadside, and they'd coned off, so it was single lane going past that, while they're trying to I guess arrange some funding to get the road repaired. But there wasn't too much in the way of damage, or if there was, it had been already repaired and repaired very well, because the we didn't really have to worry about too much riding through here, apart from just trying not to be overawed by all the, you know, amazing scenery that we're seeing, many of us for the first time. Just as we, or soon after we passed this big wooden shed here, coming up the road does branch off, carries on leftwards to parts unknown. I could look it up on a map, but I'm not going to do that right now. But the road that we're staying on kind of morphs into now Murray Road. We're going to roll along that road until we come up to Oputuri Road, I think, which leads up towards Pakotai, at which point we'll be turning right and onto State Highway 15 for our final leg. But in the meantime, both these roads, Murray Road and Oputeki Road, have got plenty of scenic delights to throw at us, so we'll just keep the camera rolling as we pick up those. Now, coming up here on the right hand side, you see where the road has collapsed away just a tad. We've got some barriers, little kind of road cones glued to the road to try and make sure that people don't just fall off the road back there as we carry along. And I think it was along this stretch of road that we, many of us managed to find that particular rut that bottomed out. A lot of bikes coming up there because it was kind of unsighted as you came over the crest of a gentle rise or hill, come down the other side, and then whoops, at the bottom was a kind of a channel across the road that conditions were perfect to let the old bike bottom out. There's still a bit of roadkill around here and there, just being signalled by one of my buddies in front, so you can see foot going out to let us know there's some fresh kill on the road. And well, we were just stunned by actually how the weather was up here. I was expecting, you know, well, I think most of us were kind of expecting we're going to run into some rain at some point. Well, we didn't. This is a midwinter ride, and you know, I'd take this any day of the week. In fact, just got back from this weekend. We had a ride, and this is now a month or almost 2 months later, down to the Central Plateau, and we're already in daylight saving now as I'm speaking these words, and this last weekend went, but we did a 850k ultra long distance ride, and we had rain almost all the way. It was quite remarkable that this ride here, put together in the middle of winter, was as blessed with the weather as it was. Good stuff. Anyway, as you can see up north here, they've got a lot of one-lane bridges, and people are very kind and generous. Even if they're not supposed to be giving way, they'll see a stream of bikes coming, they'll let them all travel past, which is appreciated. Try and get them away wherever we can, just to let them know that, hey, yeah, thank you, we appreciate you doing that, letting us all travel through. As far as these roads go, I mean, there's a lot to keep you interested and a lot to keep you alert, because there's turn after turn. As it is, all the roads are sealed, so that's great stuff, and there's not a whole lot of new seal and gravel scattered all over the place either, so it's pretty sure footing around here. But still, you got to be prepared to throw your bike around a little bit. It's just a great chance to really enjoy riding, and it's why we do what we do. Is it's great to be out in the sunshine, smelling the countryside, smelling everything around the area, seeing everything, the bright colours, the bikes. It's camaraderie on the road. It's just it ticks all the boxes, it really does. Anyway, we are making our way down towards State Highway 15. I think it's called Maungaturoto Road is the name of it. It's also known as State Highway 15, and that's where we're heading to. And I think there's going to be one last regroup ahead as we kind of come out of all of the twisty, windy bits. Wait for the road captain to sail past, and it doesn't take too long before Tim is gliding on past us to let Shane know, yeah, we're all here, we're good to go. Didn't have to wait hardly any time at all before we're on our way again, and literally on the last leg, heading up to, there goes Tim now. We're going to turn right at the end of this road, and I think it's not more than 10-15 minutes up the road from here. We arrived to the Old Parakao Store. Now this is a place that's fantastic. They're kind of rustic. It's got a lot of memorabilia around the walls. A lot of old sheds with old cars, motorbikes. And of course it's also a fully licensed bar with great food, live music. They have crackling fires going in the wintertime when we were there. They also regularly have Parakao drag races down on a mud strip track, which you can view from like the outdoor seating garden bar area. It's a wonderful place. I can't wait to go back. We'll definitely be going back. Now, with riding along this final stretch, heading down to the Old Parakao Store, we're kind of reflecting on, what a great day it's been. It's so good to get out and see so many other bikes out on the road with us. I think everyone was pretty hungry for rides, because we had a few, well, not a great deal, but there were a few rides that have been cancelled on the trot due to awful weather around about the time that rides were supposed to get off the ground. We try and run weekly rides with the club. And there'd been a little bit of a soft patch where we weren't able to get out as much as we would have liked, at least as a group. And so it was great to see so many people turn out for this particular ride. It was a well-planned and well-anticipated ride as well by Shane. We were all looking forward to it, and it didn't disappoint. We were all pretty stoked to have made the journey north. As well, Northland has been kind of off the radar for a little bit because of one thing and another, including road closures and difficulty of access across the Brynderwyns with various slips and trouble there. Not that we travel on State Highway 1 across the Brynderwyns on the way up, but generally on the way back we kind of come the more direct route, so that's where it's nice that the Brynderwyns are open, and on this particular day they are, so we're able to make a speedy kind of return. Now the buildings up ahead, you can see we're pulling in now to the Parakao Store. There is parking around the side of the building, quite a big car park around there, and that's where we're going to head to and put the bike into park and go inside and get some food and enjoy the area. Hope you've enjoyed the video. It's good to get something back out there again, and yeah, take care out there, ride safe, have fun, see you in the next one.